Are you a 6-inch vehicle collector? Well, if you are, stay tuned because we're going to get into my thoughts on the future of 6-inch vehicles. What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another Valaverse video. Today, we are talking about big stuff. That's right, talking about 6-inch vehicles. 6-inch vehicles is a pretty hot topic nowadays, and a lot can be said about it. There's a lot of 6-inch stuff vehicle-wise being done now, and I'm just kind of give my thoughts on what I think about the current state of 6-inch vehicles, having done one and being a fan of them, and where do I see it going? What do I see the problems being? What do I see the pros and cons about? So, here I have a couple samples. I got, obviously, Action Force Vanguard here. I have, the Ramen Racer, and I have the HasLab Dragonfly. Yes, I do have a G.I. Joe vehicle here. It's very impressive. I haven't built the whole thing. You can see it's not totally complete, but I just wanted to kind of include it because it's, a recent one that came out. It is massive, and, give an idea of how we could go from ground vehicles to flying vehicles, and, where that's going to end up. But, for those of you that are fans of 6-inch vehicles, you'll know that it's an expensive part of the hobby. They're definitely not cheap. When you get into the bigger stuff, you're looking at, anywhere from, $100 to, $400. And it's like, are they good? Are they good for collecting? I mean, I did the Vanguard, and I'm so happy with this thing. People love it. They're almost sold out, which is cool. We're going to work on our second run of them. It's fun to do. I'd gotten trolled about it with the fans, like, when are you doing a vehicle? When are you doing a vehicle? And then we finally got a vehicle out, and now I'm looking at doing, other vehicles. We're working on the Locust right now, and I got some other stuff, that I'm, percolating a little bit, see if we can, whatever's, good for the future of Action Force. But, us as collectors, I've kind of wondered, like, are 6-inch vehicles really a good idea? Like, is it something that we should keep doing? Is it something that you guys love enough? Is it something that's viable? That's profitable, that sort of thing? Because, it's a lot of tooling. These are big tools. The bigger the vehicle, the bigger the tools. Tooling is expensive. So, I don't know where I really fall. So I kind of wanted to do this video and just think out loud and see what my thoughts are on 6-inch vehicles, because I'm a collector, but I'm also, making this stuff, and I just don't know where we should be with them. Hopefully, a lot of you guys comment below and let me know your thoughts on 6-inch vehicles, what you think of them. Do you have any? Do you want them? But what are your reasons for not getting them? I tend to pick up what comes out. I got the His Tank. I ordered the Ecto 1 because I want to see what companies are doing and what, the quality of stuff and what we can get inspiration from to do in the future. I knew that we did a ground vehicle. We wanted to go with our second vehicle being a flying vehicle with the Locust. So, G.I. Joe went with, the Dragonflies, their second vehicle. I say second vehicle, I'm saying second HasLab. I know they did the Vamp and they do the smaller vehicles. I'm talking about the big guys. His Tank this. Now they're doing their next flying vehicle, which is the Rattler. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But, I've heard people say, oh, they're too expensive or they're too big. I don't have room for it. It seems like space is like the one kind of turning off point for people. Because as collectors, we don't all live in mansions. We don't have, this unlimited amount of space that we can just display our stuff. So a lot of people I see talk about the HasLabs, the Sentinel, Galactus, vehicles. They're like, well, I got it, and I opened it up. I saw it was cool, but then I just put it back in the box because I have nowhere to display it. And it's like, okay, well, you're buying stuff, but you're buying stuff that you can't display, which is a problem. The Dragonfly takes up a huge footprint. These things, huge footprints. The Rattler's going to have a huge wingspan, whereas the Dragonfly is tall and long. You think about, like, collectors, we have vintage stuff. If you have the flag and the Terradrome, like, those things are big. They take up a lot of space. So it's like if you're a collector and you have a flag and you have all the vintage stuff, then it's like you start getting the modern stuff. Where do you have the room to put this stuff? So I hear a lot of people saying, I don't have the space. So that's something I'm going to take into consideration for all our vehicles moving forward is space. Because, you know, do you want a vehicle or do you want 15 more figures? Because you could fit 15 more figures in the footprint that you could put this thing in. So I just don't know. I know vehicles are important for a lot of people with photography. I know, like, I got the Ramen Racer because the first thing I had in mind was I wanted to put Pandora in it. I thought she would look cool. This is the kind of vehicle that she would drive. You know, the big pros about the vehicles is the you know, the quality. Like, you know, this stuff it's really well made. I haven't really run into a 6-inch vehicle yet that I thought wasn't good. You know, everything, you know, Ramen's got a lot of you know, customization that you could do with this, changing out the rims and the bumpers, and that's really cool. You know, the detail that Hasbro puts into their HasLabs is really impressive. You know, I said the His Tank, I think, was my toy of the year, or one of my top 10 toys of the year when it came out. I thought it was so cool. I can't wait to kind of get into this and really put it together and see. But again, it's going to take up a lot of space here. You know, and it's like I noticed when I was putting the tail on, I didn't put the tail on totally because it's got one of those fits where the kind of the way it has latches that snap in. Can't really pull that out. I would have gone with a more of a friction fit, whereas instead of that snap fit, because that's like a one-time snap fit. I haven't tried the yanking out. I also didn't put it in totally, but if I try to pull that out, it might not come out because it has like these wings that snap into a cavity and latch on, and you can't pull it out, almost like a fish hook. I wasn't a fan of that, because if you want to take this thing apart, that might end up being a pain to take apart if you want to box it up again. You know, the other thing about this stuff is price. It does get pricey. You know, the Vanguard is $185. The Ramen Racer, I think, was over $200. The Dragonfly was $2 something. The His Tank was $3. You know, this stuff, it's not cheap. You know, I aim to make sure that the Vanguard was one of the biggest and best values on the market. So I gave a very aggressive price point because we wanted people to feel like you got a lot for, and I wanted it to be under $200. It was very important. So yeah, prices, you know, if you're spending $185 on this, well, you can get a bunch of figures for that price. What's more important to you? What would you rather have? You know, that's kind of why I wanted to do this video. I wanted to see what you guys think and kind of share my thoughts on it and see, you know, where we're going in the future. Where are we going in the future with this? I mean, if I continue to do, you know, 6-inch vehicles and Ramen's doing more versions of this, they're doing their van, they're doing their tank. Hasbro's gonna, you know, got the Rattler coming out. Maybe they're gonna do more in the future. There's talks of a whale, who knows? But that's gonna be a lot of vehicles. And, you know, is that gonna be the tipping point for 6-inch? You know, 6-inch kind of killed the 3 3/4-inch market because the figures were so good. But is this gonna turn people off to the point where they're like, no, I want to go back to 4-inch and then do vehicles at 4-inch? I don't know. You know, you can never really tell like why these trends sort of happen with figures. You know, I've seen it my time on Marvel. I worked on 4-inch and 6-inch, and you saw 6-inch win out. Same thing with Fortnite when I was at Jazzwares. I was working on 4-inch, and then they were doing 6-inch, and I'm like, you did this great world building with 4-inch. Why are you doing 6-inch? They want it, and they cannibalize the market. And now, you know, they do such a limited amount of the 4-inch stuff, and now nobody's doing 6-inch Fortnite stuff. So it's weird how that trend kind of died out with Fortnite. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, us as toy companies, we wish we had crystal balls where we could have all the answers to what is the right move to do, you know? Some people would say this wasn't the vehicle to do, or some people would say that's not the vehicle to do. Then there are people that say that was an amazing vehicle, or say this is awesome. It's different strokes for different folks, you know. It's it comes down to what you're into, but is what people are into viable for spending the money to do it is the question. Because I'll see, you know, and I love what Ramen does. I don't know if I would have done a van, but maybe the van is going to do well for them. I don't know. Time will tell. Vanguard did very well for us. Dragonfly and the stuff that Hasbro's doing is doing very well for them. You know, Marvel doesn't really have giant vehicles, so they do like big figures. That works for them. As I mentioned, I ordered the Ecto 1. I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. I'm excited to see that. I saw it at a show and it was impressive. And I said, I'm going to order that thing. When I get it in, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, but again, it's like the sting of the price point is it hurts. The unboxing nature of 6-inch vehicles is very, very cool. You know, taking this stuff out and changing all the parts on it, building them is a lot of fun. But once you unbox it and you set it up, okay, well then what? You know, yeah, I don't know. There's so much to like take in on 6-inch vehicles that like you could do a 2-hour discussion on it, just talking about everything. And you know, it'd be cool to like hear different people's takes on it. You know, I know how Hasbro feels about it. I know how Ramen feels about it. You know, I'm giving my take on how I feel about it after doing one. I don't know. I know figures are important for the line. I think doing more characters is probably the most important thing. A vehicle is a nice like bonus here and there. I don't think it's something where you can keep doing it consistently. You know, Hasbro can do big stuff like this, smaller stuff like the Ferret, and you know, it'd be cool if they did a Fang. I always love the Fang, but you know, that smaller stuff they could get away with, but is the smaller stuff doing well? I don't know. I don't have the numbers. I mean, you know, you see stuff on discount sometimes, you see it sold out sometimes. I just don't know. If you see 3 years from now they're still doing the small stuff, okay, then it worked. You know, they have history to go off of. I'm creating my own thing from scratch here. So we don't have this lore of these, you know, the small, the ferrets and the fangs. We don't have that yet, but that's stuff that I'm working on because in the future I'd like to do that. But say in 5 years we get to small vehicles, are you guys going to be tapped out? Are you going to like, I don't have any space? And then what happens is when you guys get to the point where you're strapped for space, and you have the stuff that you displayed, but then you have the stuff that's in a closet, like a Galactus, that you can't display, but you wanted it. Well, what happens if when you run out of closet space and you run out of display space? What are you going to do then? Are we as toy companies pushing the consumer to start picking and choosing? And you know, I want Action Force customers to buy everything we put out, but that's not the case. Sometimes you got to pick and choose something. Sometimes like someone's like, I don't want that figure, I don't want that vehicle, or I can't afford that, or I don't have the space for that. We're putting fans in a tough position here. You know, you think about it, us as kids, you know, collecting Real American Hero as kids. It's like, yeah, I didn't have a flag. I had a, you know, a Terradrome that I found, you know, on the side of the road, but it was just like, I didn't have the big stuff. I had the figures. A friend had some vehicles, so I brought my figures over for him to, you know, use his vehicles for. It worked out. I wasn't a vehicle kid, but you know, everyone kind of had that friend that had everything, you know, a flag and stuff, and they had a big house and a big room. But when you were a kid, you had your bedroom. That's where you had your stuff. As collectors, we have our collecting room, but we have so much more now to choose from because we have the vintage stuff. You're a vintage collector, and then you have the modern stuff that you're collecting modern day. It's like now you're hitting two ends of the spectrum here. So yeah, I'm kind of all over the place on this. I just wanted to like I said, just think out loud and see where we are with 6-inch vehicles. And you know, you guys let us toy companies know, is this the right direction? Is this the right road we should be going down? Or should we just be sticking to figures? You know, I know people have said, hey, when are you going to do play sets? It's like, whoa, let's pump the brakes there. I'll put a 6-inch play set. Like now you're getting into like crazy territory here. You know, I don't know the answer. I want to do a 6-inch play set. I don't know what that answer is. You know, I like the idea of exploring it. You know, we're talking about the mech suits. You know, is that something that's going to be done? You know, we're doing this series about the mech suits and seeing like, is this something that can actually be done? What do you guys want out of a mech suit? Do you want premium quality and don't care about the price point? Do you want a mech suit, but you don't care about the functions and details, but you want it under a certain price point? That's why I'm doing this. I think fan feedback is very important because you guys are the one buying this stuff. So I'm a collector, I'm buying it too, but I'm also making it. So, you know, I have a different hand in the game here. You guys are the ones whose opinion really matters. So, you know, I want to hear what you guys think. Let me know what you think about 6-inch vehicles. You know, did any of this, you know, make sense to you? Did I say something where you're like, oh, you know what, he makes a good point there? Or like, yeah, man, space, I don't know, you know, because you can't fit these in a DTOF, and a lot of us have DTOF cases, but, you know, where do you put this stuff? I've seen people make coffee tables around flags because it's like, where do you put a, you know, 6-7 foot, you know, aircraft carrier? I just got, you know, the Palatoy Death Star, and that thing, it's 2 feet in diameter. So it's like, where do you put that? You know, it needs a round table. You can't just like put it on a shelf. So this is us as collectors. This is the stuff we have to deal with. You know, the dilemmas of being a collector. But the struggle's real, man. You know, yeah, price, space, definitely cons. But again, we are in one of the best times right now for like modern day stuff. I mean, the bar keeps getting raised. Stuff coming out is amazing. You know, it's, you know, there's some vintage stuff out there that was like golden era stuff. But what we're seeing now, modern day, and the stuff we could do with the technology we have is amazing. But are we getting too ahead of ourselves? And is price not catching up to it? It's like, yeah, you could do a 2-foot long Dragonfly. Is the juice worth the squeeze? You know, at what cost? So, you know, I don't know. Maybe in 10 years things will be different, and production will have changed, and maybe you could do this for half the amount of money. I don't know. Signs point to no, but you could be optimistic. We'll see. Time will tell. But yeah, again, let me know what you guys think. These are just my thoughts. I know you don't have to agree with me on this stuff. But again, I want to know, because your feedback is important for helping us dictate what we do in the future. So again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your feedback. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. We have new content coming out every Saturday at 9 a.m. So make sure you're catching those videos. We've got cool stuff like this coming out, a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. But yeah, thank you guys again for being awesome fans and for watching the channel.